In this presentation, we're going to talk about Kurzweil 3000. Our objectives of this lesson is to understand how we can find the application, where we can download it, and the uses of Kurzweil in the classroom. In the next lessons, we'll talk about dive deeper into the features of Kurzweil and how you can use those to enhance the learning process for your students. So to get started, Kurzweil is just an application that is used for reading, writing, and learning. This will help any of your students that have learning differences process words better, become more aware of their vocabulary skills and develop those skills, increase their reading fluency and their comprehension. There are so many features here that will assist those students, such as text read alouds, highlighting words, in addition to text to type. Sentences can be spoken and those students can follow along. And one of the key features of this is that it improves reading or the readability for those students who have dyslexia. And this is because it uses an open dyslexic font and it allows the students to magnify their text and change those backgrounds so that it's customizable to them and for their learning needs. So we're going to go ahead and get started so that you can see how we go about downloading our extension if the extension is not already available on the students' devices. So the first thing we would do is we would go to Google, and if you search Chrome extensions, the Google Chrome extension store will pop up for you. So I've already typed it in here in my search bar, and I'm going to search it. Once you do that, it will bring you to the Chrome Web Store, and then the next button down is extensions. This is an extension that we're adding on to what we already have so that it'll give you an application on your device so that all you have to do is click it to turn it on and it is useful to your students. So we're going to click on extension, and the name of our extension is Kurzweil 3000. And what we're going to do is where it says search extensions and themes, we're going to type in Kurzweil 3000. Okay. Once we do that, the first one that we see that's at the top where it says Kurzweil Read the Web, that is an application that we can use as well. If your students or if whoever is helping you they forget to put in the 3000, that's absolutely fine, and we'll still bring it up as well. Kurzweil is our keyword here that we're looking for. Once we find the application, we're going to click on it. And then it gives us the option over here to add to Chrome. We want to click add to Chrome. And when we do that, it's going to ask us any permissions. It's going to ask you if you want to add to the read to web. It can read and change all of your data on websites, communicate with cooperating native applications. And that's what we want it to do. We want it to be able to read. As far as changes, that's not something that you should be worried about, but it's not changing anything. It's not breaching any type of security, but we want to go ahead and add the extension. Once we add the extension, you'll see a notification here that lets you know that Read the Web has been added to Chrome and that you can use this extension by clicking on the icon here. Now, if you want this icon to stay here, there's one way that you can do that. If you click on this little broken, it looks almost like a puzzle piece, that will show you all of the extensions that you have on your device. Any extension that has a colored in thumbtack means it's pinned, and when it's pinned to the bar at the top of your screen. And it makes it easily accessible because it's already there and all you would have to do is click on it. But if I wanted to have the Read the Web to be visible for me just to click it without clicking on this puzzle piece and without bringing up this menu, I would just simply click on the pin and it will pin the Read the Web or the Kurzweil right here at the top for me. So it's been pinned. And if all devices are synced to your account, each time you open a device, the Kurzweil icon will appear here at the top. So just there's something to keep in mind that when students are switching device to device, or if they're on a desktop, if they're logging in using their credentials and they're syncing their Google, then it will appear for them to use. Once we have our extension, we are ready to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to click here on my extension and I'm going to open it. And it's going to take a little while for it to open for me. Okay, once we're here, it will ask for the student's username and password. Remember, we are a single sign-in district, so here the students can simply press to log in with Google, and it will ask them to choose their account. Once they choose their account, if it's their first time using it on this device, it will ask for permission. Just remind the students to click on continue because it's allowing them to share the email address and the language preferences and all the profile settings that you have set up within your Google. And we want it to continue because we want it to share. So we're going to click on continue. The next thing it asks is if you will allow Kurzweil to view your Google classes, your Google Classroom classes, and you want it to allow it. The reason why is because this will also allow the students to have those read aloud text, those highlighted words, and that fine reader for the in the open dyslexic font. So we want to allow that. Once we do that, you'll see our toolbar will pop up at the top, and each of these has a different feature. And from each feature, the students are able to read these documents and boost their fluency using those features. So there are many features that are here. They're customizable. There are read alouds for text that highlight words and sentences. They have text to speech voices. One of the things that I like about the text to speech voices is that it's available in about 13 languages and it has dialects, which is really good because we all have our native dialect here in Louisiana and there's a native dialect somewhere else. And so words may be pronounced differently that have the same meaning based on those dialects. Another thing is there's a customizable reading rate that the students can use. And then, like I've mentioned before, the open dyslexic font. And this will allow those students to improve their readability. It allows them to have their text magnified, they can zoom in, and that font is fitting for them. And the last thing is just for the simple things is the customizable background and the text colors. So again, there are many tools that are available here for the students to use, and we'll go into those a little bit deeper in our next presentation. But for right now, we've learned how to get this tool available to our students, how to download that extension, and how to have it synced to all of our devices. Once we're done using this, or if the students choose not to use it at the time, but they want to make it readily available, there is a little arrow here. And if we click on that arrow, this will bring it up or down, but it still will make it visible where it needs to be seen. So if the students are ready to use it, they can bring it down, toggle it down. And if they're not using it, they can toggle it up. This is important because we still want the tool to be there, but we don't want the students to actually log out of the system. That means they would have to go through the process of logging in. So if they're not going to use it, they can toggle it on or they can toggle it off, but they do not have to log out completely of the system if they choose not to use it at that particular time. So this is just a quick overview of how to get that device. I'm sorry, how to get that application on the devices. And in our next lesson, we'll talk about each key feature and how you can increase comprehension with your students, how they can be assisted with their writing and reading assignments, and how they can improve their test taking skills for those students that have those accommodations when it's time for testing.